was one of the military operations during the Western Campaign of 1940. It was an unsuccessful attempt by the Allies to eliminate the German bridgehead at Abbeville and to restore contact with the Anglo-French troops surrounded at Dunkirk. On May 20, German tank divisions, having captured Amiens and Abbeville, reached the shores of the English Channel. The grouping of French, Belgian, and English troops in Belgium was cut off from the French armies that were south of the Somme. Kleist's tank group turned north and northeast and struck towards Boulogne, Calais, and Saint-Omer. The advance of German fascist tank units to the shores of the English Channel meant the division of the Allied forces in northern France. On May 22, a meeting of the Supreme Council of the Allies took place in Vincennes. Begon, the commander-in-chief of the French army, outlined his counteroffensive plan. The German tank divisions must perish in the trap they have fallen into, which will close behind them. The Supreme Council of the Allies approved Begon's proposals. This plan for a counterattack by the cut-off armies to the south, aimed at joining with the French forces on the Somme, was limited to battles on May 21 to 22 near Arras, and the Allies were forced to withdraw their forces to the canal line at Douai, La Bassée, Bethune. Despite the failure near Arras, the Allies decided to continue the operation aimed at trapping the German advanced armored units at the end of the Somme Valley and striking from the south in the Abbeville area. In addition to infantry units, the operation involved the forces of 3 French tank divisions and the British 1st Armoured Division. The Allies' attacks began on May 27 at 6 a.m., with a bombardment by French artillery. The 2nd Tank Division, supported by a British tank brigade, attacked on the right flank from the direction of Auquencourt, Friacourt, and Saint-Maxent, between Blangy and Abbeville, while the 5th Tank Division advanced from Breslau to the north of Gamache. The Allies' attacks failed largely due to German fire from close range using 37mm anti-tank guns. On May 28, French divisions attacked again from Breslau, captured several German outposts, and reached the Somme on both sides of the German bridgehead, but were unable to capture Abbeville and St. Valery. The 4th Tank Division of Colonel de Gaulle, 137 tanks and 14 armored vehicles, attacked the German positions on both sides of the Blangy-Abbeville road. At 5 p.m., 2 tank battalions destroyed most of the machine gun nests on the enemy positions. The German counterattack was repelled by a new wave of French tanks. However, the French infantry could not keep up with the tanks, and they had to retreat to resume the offensive at dawn, at 4 a.m. By the time most of the French tanks had withdrawn, the French infantry had advanced approximately 4.5 kilometers into the bridgehead. The territory held by the Germans had shrunk to about 1/6 of its original area. On May 29, the French attacked on the Montcover Plateau with forces from the 4th, 2nd, and 5th Tank Divisions, supported by the remaining tanks of the 1st British Armoured Division. The tanks advanced along the lower western and southern slopes of the plateau, but they failed to capture the flat summit of Montcover, from which there was a good field of fire. Around 2100 hours, the flanks of the German bridgehead were attacked, and French units were able to advance from the east and west. The retreat of the German infantry caused panic among the rear units. The French advance was halted by the reinforcement of units from the Wehrmacht's 2nd Motorized Division. 8.8 cm caliber guns created a fire barrier at Montcoubert. German counterattacks south of Montcoubert stabilized the situation. Further German counterattacks to the west, near Cambrin, began to threaten the French, forcing them to shift tanks from the eastern to the western side of the bridgehead to repel them. On May 30, the French resumed their attack on Montcoubert, but after 2 hours of fighting, the attack had the same result as the day before. The infantry, meeting resistance, took cover and returned to Bienf, while the advancing tanks were damaged by the fire of 8.8 cm anti-aircraft guns firing direct fire. With the exception of the Marais Castle, the Allied infantry achieved no success. However, all 5 German counterattacks were repelled. On May 31, the French recaptured the lost Villers Forest in a morning attack. On June 4, the Allies launched their last unsuccessful attack on the bridgehead. This marked the end of the offensive, on which they had pinned great hopes. The 57th Bavarian Infantry Division commanded by General Blum managed to hold the bridgehead south of Abbeville. As a result of the fighting, the Franco-British side suffered losses of 260 armored vehicles and 2,900 men killed, while the German side faced 1,200 men killed.